My name is Dr. Sharon Norris Elliott,
And I'm Lady Laura Simon.
and we are here, first of all, grateful that you are here with us.
Grateful.
Thankful to you. It's been more than one time that we have heard from our network that this show gets a high rating, right? And that's because of you watching. So we want you to continue to support us and watch
Write
the
in.
show. Write in. I asked for you to write in and tell us, call or what have you. Tell us from where you are watching. We like to kind of keep track. Oh, this
That'd be
person is
nice.
here and there, and
Nice to
because the
see.
show goes all over the world. So we really like to know where you are, and if you write in or call in and we get that information, we can shout you out, right?
Shout
Hey,
you
like,
out.
hey, Paris, or hey, Louisville, Kentucky, or wherever, right?
Wherever
you might
wherever
be.
you are.
So we're just excited about the fact that you want to know more about living your life because your life matters.
And it matters to
God,
us. And to
it
God.
matters to us.
Of
So,
course.
yeah, we just talk about just regular old stuff,
Regular old stuff.
and how things apply to us, and how we can take the word, right, and apply it to what we're doing and saying and being.
What we're going through.
What we're going through. We've talked about our kids. So both of us have grown children, and so
Adulting children.
that's a whole nother issue. And that's not even a word. A whole nother. That's not even a word. but you-
Apostrophe Notha.
Right. How does that work? Right. Well, my latest book, Didn't See That Coming, when how they're living is not how you raise them. Kind of led us on some conversations about kids. So pick up a copy of that book. You can pick it up if it's not in your local bookstore. They can order it for you, and you can get it there.
Sure can.
You can get it online, Amazon, all that. So Laura's book, which is
Did she say that out loud?
okay. So Laura is a pastor's wife, and
And I said it all out
and
loud.
she said it all out loud. So you can learn a lot about just living day to day, whether you're a pastor's wife or not, right?
Or not. It just shows that we are just like you,
Yeah.
just ordinary, and we have the same issues, very
Yeah.
same.
But we
issues.
bring some stuff to our pastors' wives, we call them first ladies, that we shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
We expect things of them, that we wouldn't expect of ourselves sometimes. So all
Right.
of that,
Right.
is the mix. I'm a pastor's kid, so I watch my mom be a pastor's wife, right?
So
Yeah.
she knows.
Right. And then we're all children of God and we're all women of God. So sometimes
Right.
some of the things that happen with a pastor's wife, because people know you're a Christian, right? They kind of project that onto you as well. So I would highly recommend that you also get a copy of Laura's book, right? Did she say that out loud?
Yeah.
By Laura Simon, and Didn't See That Coming if you have some grown kids, because they're probably doing some interesting things.
Even though they're grown.
Yes. So, with that said,
That.
we are talking in this series about disappointments. That could be the kids, but we're not talking about that today.
We're not talking about them today.
We're not talking about that today.
Although we could.
Although we could. But we are talking we are letting Moses and his life give us a jumping off point
Yeah. Yeah.
to all our different things. So for the last two shows, we have talked about Moses. So we started out with Moses being disappointed in his birth. Some of us are disappointed about the family we were born in or the situation we were born into or things like that, things from the
Things like that.
past, right? And then we went on in the next program to talk about running from mistakes and fear of failure, right?
Right.
Okay, so today we're going to Exodus 7 through 10. And as my pastor says, you Bible readers out there,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
that is the portion of scripture. We're in Exodus chapter 7, 8, 9, and 10. That's the portion of scripture where we read about the plagues of Egypt.
Yes.
So Moses has been on the backside of the desert. That's a whole series that we could do
A whole series
about being on the backside of the desert.
on the backside.
But for 40 years, he ran away from Egypt. You can go back and you can read the book, or you can go back and you can watch the program and find out why he ran away. He was 40 when he ran away. He's 80 when this incident happens to him, and he sees a burning bush in the wilderness where he ran to, right?
Right.
So he ran to Midian. He met his wife out there in the desert. So, sidebar, you can meet your wife or husband
Late in life.
late in life and in places where you didn't think.
And didn't think. Because this
Who
man had 7 daughters.
Who finds good things in the desert?
Who finds good things in the desert? Look, folks,
Who finds good things in the desert? Some people find good things, just not even looking. So we're not talking about that today either.
another show.
So that's another show. Okay, however,
However,
he finds his wife, he marries her, and then he is keeping stinky sheep. Wait, and I heard a sermon last night. Somebody else's sheep. No, this was not before that. Somebody else's sheep on somebody else's land where he wasn't even supposed to be. And for 40 years, he had to do that.
somebody else's sheep
Yeah,
on somebody else's
on somebody
land.
else's land. And the land was desert, so how much grass?
He was having a hard time.
It was a hard
That was not an easy job.
time.
That was not an
It
easy.
was a hard
That was
time.
not an easy assignment. And that should give you a clue. If the assignment isn't easy, it might not be for you. But he was running.
Yes. Yes. But the assignment, wait, if it's not easy, it also might be for you.
It might be for you.
Because
Yeah.
for 40 more years,
40 more.
he ended up in that same wilderness, wandering around with the children of Israel who were not his. They belonged to God.
They belonged to God, but
In
he
a
was
place they weren't supposed to be
in
for
a
40
place
years.
'cause
Come on.
They were disobedient.
Come on.
He and the flock.
He and the flock.
Mega preacher.
So here they are.
Here
So
they
here's
are.
Moses. At this point, he's 80. God calls him and tells him to go to Pharaoh. He goes through all his excuses, and God knocks each excuse down. Then he gets to Pharaoh. And in chapter 7, God allows him to give the first sign that God was in control of everything that was happening, right? And so Moses was to ask Pharaoh to let the slaves, right? Let my people, this is God talking. Moses is giving, well, through his brother Aaron, but that's a whole different topic.
Yes.
He has to,
But you got to do a side. You got to come
Okay.
back before you go forward,
Okay.
march forward. You got to talk about this because you said this to me earlier. Verse 6 says, Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord commanded them.
yes.
Yeah,
So
right
they
now.
did, yes.
Okay. 7 says, Moses was 80 years old
Yes.
and Aaron 83.
There you go.
Boom. And I'm old. I am 58, and I'm just going to tell you that blessed my heart. Moses is 80,
He's 80,
and Aaron is 83.
and they're just starting
They're just starting.
their mission.
So tell me about, just tell me a little bit about that title.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yes, Dr.
Because
Kevin,
somebody needs to hear
Dr.
that.
Kevin Cosby
Yes.
preached the other night at our state convention, Baptist convention, and the topic was life begins at 80.
Boom.
And he was
That
he
is
did
for
use
free.
this passage.
He did.
Yes, he was using this passage, and he was the whole bottom line was look at Moses' life. He was supposed to do what he was supposed to do. At 40, he did it wrong. He tried to do it wrong because he tried to do it himself. Then God had to kind of get him together. But sending him to the backside of the desert was practice. He didn't know it. Moses didn't know it. Was practice for what he was going to do in his purpose.
And then I didn't get to see this because they didn't say anything about her. But if Moses is 80
Yes.
and Aaron is 83,
Yes.
my God, how old is Miriam?
Miriam was the oldest.
She 100.
Miriam was older than the two
That's
brothers.
what I'm saying. So
So
for
she might have
me-
been 85, 86, 87. Who knows?
No. That girl is 90, 93 because she pushed Moses down the river.
Right, but he was a baby.
Yeah,
so,
but she was at least what?
So Aaron was 3.
Okay, so how old is Miriam?
Okay, maybe she was
10.
10.
That girl's 90. She old too.
Yes, that's true.
She's old.
Right.
Because she had to be able to talk to, well, I mean, she had to be 10.
Yeah,
at
and,
least
and as
10.
we keep reading,
I thought
we
she was
find
15. But anyway, I'm going to go back.
even if she was
Yeah.
15.
Let me see,
So now
95.
she's 95
God can use anybody.
at this point. And they hadn't even started the mission they were going to be on with the children of Israel.
That did my heart really good. I hope there is somebody out there like me that is afraid of, I'm happy to get older. Very happy because it beats the alternative.
Yeah, it does.
But this right here
Yeah.
made me feel good today.
Yeah.
There is time, God willing. Wow.
Yes. Which, of course, brings up all kinds of good things about how we should be taking care of ourselves.
Yes.
Because we got work to do.
We got work to do.
It's work in the kingdom.
Yep.
So here are these octogenarians.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
They
That's
are
the word.
80, 83, and then she's something else. I don't even know what you call Miriam. 90-gerian?
Right. We don't know. We don't know the word.
I don't know. Okay.
But all of that was, we love rabbit trails on this show. We totally love rabbit trails. Okay, so the point was, here they are, they come back, and God sends Moses and Aaron, because Moses had so many excuses. One of the excuses was, I can't talk, I stutter,
Yeah.
whatever. So God said, look, I'm really tired of you with all these excuses.
He said, Aaron is your prophet. Shut up.
So Aaron will say, I'm going to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
You still going to go. And you still going to do what I called you to do.
Ooh-wee.
But now you have complicated the matter.
Yeah.
And I'm going to send your brother
With you.
to speak for you. So I'm going to speak to you, then you're going to speak to him, and then he's going to speak to Pharaoh. And then, yeah. So that's how it went. So Moses and Aaron go in to tell Pharaoh, God says, the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the God of, no, it wasn't Abraham, Isaac, Jacob yet, was it? Yes, it was. Yeah, they were Genesis. Okay. That God says, let my people go.
Let my people go.
And if Pharaoh says no, I got something for him. So Pharaoh said no.
Pharaoh said no.
Right. And so the sorcerers, Moses threw down the stick first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it became a serpent. He threw down, he had a little, you carried one. What do you call them?
I call it a staff.
Staff. Threw down the staff. It became a serpent. That was supposed to scare everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Pharaoh said, Magic 101. He called his magicians and sorcerers. They did the same thing with their staffs.
Mm-hmm.
However, Moses' staff
Actually, Aaron's
ate
staff.
up. Really?
Yes, girl.
All
We
these
got to tell them.
years.
We got to tell
Wait
them
a
right.
minute.
It says
The verse,
Aaron's
where's the
staff
verse?
becomes a snake. Verse 8.
Look at that.
The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, when Pharaoh says to you, perform a miracle, then say to Aaron, take your staff and throw it down before Pharaoh,
Wow.
and it will become a snake.
There you go.
So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and did just as the Lord commanded. Aaron threw his staff down in front of Pharaoh and the officials.
All these years, I've been saying it was Moses' staff.
That's Aaron's staff. So we're going to
That
tell
was
you
good.
the right thing
That
now.
was good.
There you go.
Boom! Boom!
Yes.
Aaron's staff.
Aaron's staff.
And then Aaron's staff ate up.
Ate up.
Aaron's rod swallowed up the rods of all the Pharaoh's snakes, and then it became a rod again. Now, that was pretty cool.
That's
pretty good.
As the Gen Zers say,
Yeah.
fire.
That was fire.
That was fire.
And then Pharaoh was like, not convinced. Like, no, I'm not letting you go. And so then Moses turns the water of the Nile, which was the water that, of course, was their life.
Their life.
Line. They lived in a desert, so yeah, we needed this water. Turned it to blood. Okay. All the fish, this is what I love about it. Verse 18. And the fish that were in the river shall die, and the river shall stink.
The river shall stink.
So not only did the water in the Nile turn to blood, but verse 19, their streams, their rivers, their ponds, their pools, all turned to blood. That is amazing.
So that means the rich folks.
Even the water that was in the vessels of wood and stone, that when they
Wooden
poured it out,
buckets.
it was blood.
Wow.
So they all got upset. The Egyptians all got upset. The magicians. Here's another thing. The magicians tried it and did it too. So they added to the plague. Right.
Added to the plague.
Right. And so Pharaoh turned and went in his house, didn't set his heart to anything, and all the Egyptians dug around looking for water, and for 7 days, this happens. Plague number 2, we won't go, in all the details of all the plagues, but plague number 2, the Nile then bred frogs.
Oh,
Frogs came out. They were in everything, on everything. You couldn't turn around without there being frogs.
this is just gross.
And the magicians did so too. Hey, we can make frogs. So the magicians made even more frogs. All right. So Moses said to Pharaoh, glory over me, when shall I entreat for thee and for thy servants and for thy people to destroy the frogs from thee? And he said, tomorrow, right? So, okay, tomorrow the frogs are going to be gone. Great. But did the frogs just disappear? No, they just died. Oh, now.
Now it's really gross.
Right now it's just gross. You had the river with the fish that had died from the plague with blood. Now you have all these
up in
frogs
Egypt.
all over the place. And they died.
I don't know how Pharaoh was like, what?
And so when the frogs died, his people now are dealing with all of this, getting all this out of their house, out of their houses and off their land. I don't know if they buried them. I don't know what happened.
I could not be in.
But then-
God knew I couldn't be in those days.
But then Pharaoh goes, no, you can't go. Okay, plague 3, lice.
That's the lice.
Now, when it got to the lice, the magicians could not produce that. And from then on, with these plagues, the magicians were out of the picture because they couldn't do that. All right. So lice. I don't know if
Just saying, it makes you start itching.
everywhere. Then Pharaoh, no, you can't go. And my point of bringing all these up is that each time Moses we go, okay, surely, right? It seems Pharaoh is going to, relent and everything's going to be okay. Each time that Pharaoh said no was another disappointment.
Each time.
Each time. And
This time they're going to let him go. This time he's going to let him
and
go.
the children of Israel are looking at Moses going,
This is gross. What you doing?
right, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. We supposed to believe you? So blood, frogs, lice. Then we get to flies. Now, if there's one fly in your house, you are on a search and destroy. I know I am missing.
I'm finding.
I am trying to get that flies everywhere. It's a plague of flies. Now, with this one, the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel lived, did not have this plague to get to them. So the blood, the frogs, the lice did affect the children of Israel, but from now the flies don't go into the land of Goshen. And the rest of these plagues don't go. So think about that. Here's the border, the sign, welcome to Goshen.
And stops.
No flies over there.
Yeah.
Miracles, miracle upon miracle upon miracle.
Right.
Flies, no. Then the animals, there's a disease in the cattle. They die. So, of course, that affects commerce, right?
Right.
No, you can't go. Then there's boils on the people. So now the people
See, now that's when I'm done. I'm just done.
I was done with the lice myself.
I'm not understanding what. I'm about to go back and read this more in depth again, because why is it that we have to be so hard-headed?
Hard-headed.
This is unbelievable. What is wrong with Pharaoh?
And Pharaoh keeps saying no. Moses is disappointed. He's like, okay. He said, surely he's gonna do it if all the people get
Boils.
and sick, because that included Pharaoh. All right. No. He goes, no. And then there's a plague of hail. Now the hail begins to destroy crops because it was crazy. Then you go from hail to I was just back east with the plague of
Cicadas?
the cicadas. And
Cicadas and locusts.
My good, they were everywhere.
And don't fly on me.
Yeah, and they will land on you, and they don't bite or anything like that, but still, they're like big, like this big, and big as your thumb at least. And I was at a conference. Oh, it was awful. That was an awful week.
I know it
It was
was.
an awful week. Good conference, but an awful week. So locusts, right? And they come and they eat up stuff. Then there's 3 days of darkness. Darkness so much so that you can't see your hand in front of your face. I mean, darkness. And every time Pharaoh's no, you can't leave. No, you can't leave. No, you can't leave. Okay, please take this plague away. Moses goes, takes the plague away, comes back. No, you can't leave. So 9 plagues. What does this have to do with you and disappointments? What this has to do with you and disappointments,
Glad you asked.
that's right, is that everything may not go your way, even though you are doing what God specifically and clearly told you to do. And God intends for you to still hang on. Moses did not doubt that God sent him to Pharaoh. He just kept going back, kept going back, kept going back. You cannot doubt what God calls you to do.
Amen.
no matter what happens around you, because, like we said in the last show, when God calls you to do something, you cannot fail at it.
Right.
You cannot. You keep your eyes on what he said. And you say, you know what? If this doesn't work, that's the same thing I did when I was teaching my seniors in school about tithing. So we're going to do this until it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, we're going to come back here and we're going to talk about it because it ain't on me. God's the one who said it. Now, trust and believe, we never had that conversation.
Never had the
because
conversation.
tithing works. It's the same principle, right? What God told you to do is going to work. So God didn't tell Moses in advance.
Didn't tell him in advance.
Right. But when you got to this final plague, which was the death of the firstborn, right? The children of Israel were to spread the blood of a lamb around their doorposts, close the door, and the death angel was coming to town. And when the death angel saw the blood on the doorpost, the death angel would pass over because that's a house that believes in God.
Right.
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 That's the blood that's been shed for us that is on the doorpost of our hearts. That's what Jesus has done. The destroying angel passes over.
Passes over.
Passes over as we are trying to do what God tells us to do. Don't let disappointment come between you and what God has told you to do.
That's good.
My name is Dr. Sharon Norris Elliott.
And I'm Lady Laura Simon.
And as always,